Hey guys, it's Sydney, and today we will be talking about the Sex and the City movies. If you haven't watched my last video, you should go do it, but you really don't have to because the movies have little to do with the shows. Like, they give you an overview and then then they're like, okay, go ahead. Like, it's really nothing that serious. You don't have to go watch it, but I do recommend you go watch it because it's just me. Okay, before we get to the video, I'm doing something different. I'm gonna address the comments from the last video in the beginning. I now know that 30 is not middle-aged, guys. You can stop commenting it, okay? I was under the impression that I was middle-aged. I thought 30s to 40s was middle-aged. Turns out it's 40 to 50s. I'm sorry. Like, I genuinely did not know, and I went through my whole life thinking this. Like, I thought this since I was a kid. So I was like, okay, I know this. I'm gonna just put this in the script. It really ain't nothing. It is something. I'm so sorry. I'm actually really sorry. It was a careless mistake. I won't do it again. I will never refer to these women as middle-aged until and just like that, okay? I have a script. That's why you see me looking down. I have a script that I'm reading off of, and that's how I stay organized with these videos. So if you get distracted by me looking down, I'm sorry. Just don't look at me. Now we can get right into the rest of the video. Sex and the City is an American television series that originally aired on HBO from 1998 to 2004. It follows the life of Carrie Bradshaw and her three friends, Miranda Hobbs, Samantha Jones, and Charlotte York. Their sole Sex and the City resulted in two movies, Sex and the City and Sex and the City 2, and two spin-offs that will be covered in two separate videos. We're gonna get straight into the first movie. The Sex and the City movie was released in 2008 with a budget of $65 million. It then grossed $415 million. Y'all do not play about Carrie Bradshaw on them, okay? The first movie starts with the most 2000 thing ever, flashy transitions and Fergie. The music was so loud, I could barely hear Carrie's monologue. And if you thought Carrie's outfits were eating in the show, you're gonna be blown away with this movie. Like, she was tearing down. All the girls were eating. You could tell that budget increase, they were playing, okay? The beginning of the movie has a great recap of the show, so you can watch it as a standalone film. Most of the girls are exactly where we left them, where the series ended, except it is 4 years later and Samantha has moved to LA. Okay, Mason, what's going on? Big and Carrie are searching for apartments so they can move in together, and they find the perfect place. The realtor mistakenly addressed Carrie as Big's wife, and Big says, "Aren't I too old to be introduced as your boyfriend?" Big, we're not doing this today. We're not. They end up getting the apartment even though it has the smallest closet ever, according to Carrie, and Big makes plans to redo it and fix the kitchen up. The four girls link up.
Bad bitch, link up. Link up. I just pull up in a Brinks truck
To support Samantha at an auction to buy the ugliest ring I have ever seen. But she ends up battling a woman who is bidding for a mystery buyer on the phone, and Samantha bids $50,000 but ends up losing anyway. Throughout the movie, we get little hints of marriage being a lose-lose situation. Like in the apartment that Carrie and Big go to see, it being for sale because of a messy divorce. In the auction the girls attend happens because someone got put out in the middle of the night due to being unmarried. So Carrie goes home to Big and tells him that she's going to sell her apartment and make a life with him so she has stake in the property. And then they just decide to get married. It wasn't even romantic. They were just sitting there and Big was like, "Do you want to get married?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then they just decided to get married. The next day she tells Charlotte and Miranda about her engagement, and Charlotte screams. Like, she literally goes like, "Ah!"
We decided to get married. And I'm deaf.
And Charlotte's messy because why is she airing out Carrie's business like that to the people in the restaurants? She's like, they have been together for 10 years and they're finally getting married. Girl. However, Carrie calls Samantha and tells her the news, but she isn't as enthusiastic and is more excited at the thought of Carrie getting Botox than getting married.
Big and I decided to get married.
Really? But Samantha agrees to being Carrie's maid of honor. Anthony is back in this movie as Carrie's wedding planner, and of course, this is now going to become the biggest thing ever. Carrie reveals the dress she picked out, and it is very simple, nothing like Carrie, and it's just like a suit dress. Carrie and Big's wedding appears in page 6, and Big seems annoyed that it's there, and he realizes it's about to become a really big thing that he does not want. Carrie's Vogue editor, Enid, offers her a spot in Vogue's A issue as 40 and puts her in bridal couture. And she kind of forces her to do it because Carrie always is like hesitant on things, and Enid's like, girl, just say yes. You gonna say yes, just say yes. Clock that tea, Enid! All the pictures taken at the bridal shoot were beautiful. I was blown away. I think this is the best Carrie has ever looked. Carrie ends up wearing a bunch of different dresses by different designers, and one of them being Vivienne Westwood, which is like the dress that she was the most in love with. Vivienne Westwood ends up giving that dress to Carrie to wear on her wedding day, so goodbye to the antique shop dress. Big and Carrie are laying in bed, and Carrie pulls out a library book titled The Love Letters of Great Men Volume 1. She reads out parts of Napoleon and Beethoven's love letters and asks if Big has ever written her a love letter, but he says it's not his style. We'll see about that, Mr. Big. Can we talk about the casting of Miranda and Steve's child? It's like perfect. That boy looks like the both of them. While Miranda and her family are out to eat, Miranda's kind of rushing them so she can get home, so she can work some more. And Steve and Miranda get into an argument because of this, because it's like, why are you rushing everything? Why are you rushing our nanny so she can't even finish her meal? Miranda gets a little milk on her top lip, and Steve points that out, and Miranda's kind of getting frustrated. She's like, why do you always have to complain? Why is nothing right for you? They're just making the most out of nothing. And Steve replies, do you want to go through life with foam on your top lip? And then Miranda gets even more mad. She's just like, and then he places foam on his top lip. It makes Miranda laugh. And so they're laughing it up and they're having fun. And then they get home and they doing a nasty no Ariana Grande. And Miranda says, let's just get it over with. Girl. And that hurt Steve's feelings because it's like, we don't really get the nasty no Ariana Grande. And when we do it, you're trying to like speed it up and get it over with. The next day with the girls, Miranda brings up sex and Carrie offers an alternative word for it, color, which is what I'll be using for the rest of the video. Thank you, Carrie. And it is revealed that the last time she and Steve colored was 6 months ago. I don't know if that's a long time. I'm not in a committed relationship. I don't care. Back in LA, Smith surprises Samantha with the ring she lost at the auction for their anniversary. Smith doesn't want to color with Samantha after he gives her the ring, which frustrates her. Later in the night, she's relaxing in her hot tub and sees her neighbor coloring and keeps going to look at her neighbor coloring every night after that. In New York, Big reveals the renovated closet to Carrie, and she absolutely loves it. I do too. Carrie, make some room for me. And Carrie moves out of her apartment, and Samantha surprises the girls and helps Carrie move out. I think Samantha is finding any little old reason to go to New York from LA. She hates LA. Miranda goes back home, and Steve drops the bomb that he cheated on Miranda.
I had sex with someone else. And you're so amazing, and I don't know how I could do that to you.
Who else wants to die? It's crazy how your perception of a person can change in a second, because Miranda immediately goes to divorce, which I totally understand. But the girls are trying to get Miranda to be open to trying to make it work. But it's Miranda, so Big is stressed out about the contractor pushing back their move-in date, and Carrie is stressed out about the wedding. And she says there will be 200 guests, and justifies it by saying that the dress ups the ante. Big wanted a quiet wedding since it is his third marriage, but he did not express this to Carrie until this moment to keep her happy. And he says, I want you. That's all I want. I could have just gone down to City Hall. What you being messy for? At the rehearsal dinner, this man named Carl, why am I saying it like that, Carl? Oh my gosh, this is the country in me, Carl. At the rehearsal dinner, this man named Carl was trolling during Samantha's speech, and he chose the wrong woman because Samantha clocked that tea right quick.
You know what they say, 3 times the charm.
Hey, dickwad, I'm speaking.
And she goes back to her speech, and she says,
So here's to the groom, a man who finally got carried away.
They knew they cooked in the writer's room because they even made it the movie's tagline. Outside the rehearsal dinner, Harry, Samantha, Smith, and Big are smoking Cuban cigars, and Steve pulls up to talk to Miranda. Like, literally pulls up to the rehearsal dinner. It's like talking to Samantha. He's like, can you get Miranda for me? And he's very respectful. He doesn't just barge in there and start yelling like, you need to talk to me. No, he just waited outside because he didn't want to make a big fuss out of it because it's a party. Miranda tore him up bad though. She starts yelling and a group of young girls come by laughing at them. Don't make me mad, 20-something girls, 1 through 4. Miranda says, I changed for you. And she storms back into the restaurant and changes the entire plot of the movie. Big checks on her after the altercation, and Miranda says, you two are crazy to get married. Marriage ruins everything. What you being messy for? Why would you do that? Like, what? And you know, she didn't mean anything by it. She was just expressing her hatred. And even if it was Carrie that came by, if it was Samantha that came by, if it was Charlotte that came by, she would have said the same thing. If it was a random person, she would have said, Big and Carrie are crazy. They shouldn't get married. Marriage rules everything. She just would have been even messier because she's not talking to them. Carrie and the girls are having a sleepover for the wedding, and Big calls in the most serious voice ever and is second guessing getting married. I will cry right now. And then Carrie talks him off the ledge and is like, it's just me and you in this marriage. There's nobody else. It's just me and you for the rest of our lives. It's just me and you. Carrie starts getting ready for the wedding the next morning. And she has this beautiful Vivienne Westwood dress on and a dead bird on her veil. And during all this mess of getting ready, Carrie forgets her phone and Charlotte's daughter carries it in her cupcake purse. She's so cute. I love Lily. Lily is so cute. And Big is calling Carrie non-stop while they're trying to go to their wedding. And seeing the juxtaposition between Carrie and her friends getting ready and being so happy and it being so hectic to Big just pacing alone by himself, just hoping for Carrie to answer. Just like, where are Big's friends? Does Big not have friends? I don't think he has friends. And at the wedding, Big is waiting in the car just hoping for Carrie to turn around and look at him, but she doesn't because she's trying to get inside because she thinks that you're inside. Why would you be outside waiting in the car, in a tinted up blacked out car? Are you serious? Don't make me mad. And when she doesn't turn around to look at him, he drives away. When Anthony whispers to Samantha, Big's not here. And then Carrie's like, what? And then Samantha's like, Big's not here. It's not funny. And then she's like, somebody give me my phone. Give me my phone. Give me a phone. I don't know where my phone is. And then she calls him and he's like, I pulled away. I can't do this. You couldn't even come in the library? You couldn't even come to the venue? Are you serious? Are you serious? You're gonna embarrass her like that? 200 guests are sitting here waiting for them to get married and you're embarrassing her like that? Are you serious? Don't make me mad, John James Preston. Oh my gosh, I'm already mad. And this is the best Sarah Jessica Parker has been at acting because she just screams. She's like, get me out of here!
Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Go, go, go.
Come on! And after Big gets off the phone with Carrie, he's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm making a mistake. Turn around. Mind you, this is a one-way street. The driver hits that 3-point turn. He turns around and they pass each other, and Big is like, stop the car, that's her. He gets out the car. He's like, I'm so sorry, Carrie, let's get married. And she's like, boom, boom, hits her with the, boom, boom, hits her with the flowers. Oh my gosh, boom, boom.
I knew you would do this. I knew it.
Clock his teeth. Clock his teeth. Clock it. Clock it. Go ahead, get him for me, Carrie. And Miranda talks to Charlotte about what she said to Big, and Charlotte tells her it's best to wait to tell Carrie and that the blame isn't on her because Big has been weird about marriage for years. Even though Miranda kind of planted a seed in his brain, but she didn't mean to. Like, ultimately, she didn't mean to, but impact always outweighs intention. The girls joined Carrie on her would-be honeymoon in Mexico. They were really good friends in this moment because they really supported Carrie. They made sure that there were no remnants of the marriage. Carrie is very depressed on the trip, and for the first day, she spends it in bed sleeping like the entire time. and Charlotte refuses to eat anything at the resort because it's in Mexico. Carrie finally comes out of her room and Miranda is growing a national forest out of her vagina, according to Samantha. Also, Carrie makes her first joke and she says, "I need to get out of my Mexicoma." Progress. When the girls go out to dinner, Charlotte pulls out pudding cups because she's still not trying to eat anything in Mexico, so she's just eating pudding cups and bottled water. It's very not serious. And Samantha expresses her frustration of her life revolving around Smith. Miranda and Samantha get Carrie's apartment back and all of her stuff moved in for her. Then Charlotte poops her pants because she's been eating nothing but pudding while being in Mexico, which made Carrie laugh for the first time. Carrie starts listening to the messages Big left her during the wedding and she throws her phone into the water. She is so dramatic. She is just like me. That's my mother. Carrie finally goes back home and tries to hire an assistant. After a series of interviews, she hires Louise from St. Louis, who was played by Jennifer Hudson with a computer science degree, who moved to New York to fall in love. And then Charlotte tells Carrie that she's pregnant. Samantha and Smith finally talk about how she feels disconnected from her life in LA and would rather be in New York. Louise organizes Carrie's life on the internet and creates a special file of all of Big's emails so Carrie doesn't see them. Carrie and Miranda meet up to go costume shopping and end up talking about their relationships again. And Miranda almost tells Carrie about her chat with Big, but Carrie is distracted by her Vogue issue. In the issue, they are being messy down. They're like, while this was going to print, Carrie Bradshaw ended up not getting married and she is still single and living in New York. After seeing the magazine, Carrie dyes her hair brown and it just eats, okay? Carrie calls Samantha and Samantha is fighting to not cheat with Smith on her neighbor and she begins binge eating and shopping to distract herself from those thoughts. She also adopts a dog who is binge humping. During the holidays, Louise surprises Carrie with a gift and Carrie does the same thing and gives her a Louis Vuitton bag. Both Miranda and Carrie were spending New Year's Eve alone and Miranda calls Carrie in the middle of the night. Carrie takes it upon herself to go over to Miranda's house, and during Carrie's journey to Miranda's house, they show the others during New Year's Eve and a flash of Stanford and Anthony is shown. Then they show Louise seeing her ex-boyfriend at a Christmas party where they got back together. And then they show Mr. Big being alone in this big party. While at New York Fashion Week, Miranda brings up Steve and the way she talks about him, there's still so much love there. And when Charlotte says that she should forgive him, Big was brought up. And Miranda was like, should Carrie forgive Big? The situations are very different here. The situations are very different and their history together is very different. Big has a history of not committing to Carrie. Like, this is totally different. Charlotte is like, oh no, Carrie should never forgive Big. I actually have a line for him when I see him and she's like, I curse the day you were born. On Valentine's Day, Carrie and Miranda go to dinner together. And Miranda finally confessed what she said to Big to Carrie 5 months later.
I said that you two were crazy to get married.
Here we go. Here's Shiraz.
I was waiting for the right time.
There is no right time to tell me that you ruined my marriage.
It just happened. I wasn't thinking.
And I have never, ever kept a secret from you. Ever. No, I'm lying. For the last 5 months, I've been thinking that it is a huge mistake that you left Steve.
Samantha makes homemade sushi for Smith and lays it on her body, but Smith is 3 hours late, and they get into a huge argument over this.
Why are you so upset? I called.
I couldn't pick up the phone. My body was covered everywhere with sushi. I got wasabi in places where one should never get wasabi. Oh, you think it's funny that I slaved all day in this kitchen to make a lovely meal for you?
You made some sushi. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Here. I am not the type of woman who sits home all day waiting for a man! Enjoy your California handmade roll!
Miranda and Carrie don't speak for 3 days because of this argument. Miranda pulls up to Carrie's house and is kind of badgering her to forgive her. And Carrie's like, this is exactly what Steve did to you, but he gave you months. He's been doing this for 5 months. You expect me to forgive you after 3 days, but you won't forgive Steve? You won't even try? And then Miranda decides to give Steve and her a shot. And they start going to marriage counseling. At marriage counseling, Steve points out the fact that how will he be able to trust Miranda again, because he got cut out of her life so quickly, and she kind of did it so like coldly. And then the marriage counselor says after 2 weeks of not speaking, they will meet at a designated location, which is the Brooklyn Bridge, to decide whether they want to be together. Louise got engaged to her boyfriend and is moving back to St. Louis. Who else cried? Miranda and Steve meet on the bridge, and it is such a beautiful moment. It's so beautiful. I'm just gonna play a scene.
It suddenly dawned on Miranda that Steve's list might have had more cons than pros.
Broken heart, and mine is. How can you stop the rain from falling down? How can you stop that old sun from shining? What makes the world go round? And sometime I have to say,
And Miranda never looked back.
At Carrie's housewarming, the girls have an intervention with Samantha because she has gained 15 pounds. Can y'all be serious? Samantha feels indebted to Smith because he stayed with her throughout the chemo, but after talking to the girls, she has decided to leave him.
This isn't working. I've done my best. I've given it 5 years and 15 pounds.
What? You don't love me anymore?
Yes, I love you. It's just... I'm just gonna say the thing you're not supposed to say. I love you, but I love me more.
Clock that T, Sam Jones. When Samantha moves back to New York, Louise moves back to St. Louis. While she's leaving, she says to Carrie, "You gave me a Louis Vuitton." Don't make me mad with that corny stuff. Don't make me mad. Get out the writer's room. Y'all thought y'all cooked. Y'all thought y'all cooked, but y'all didn't. The house is burning down. Look at you. Charlotte goes out to lunch a week from her due date and sees Mr. Big and decides to run away.
Charlotte. Charlotte, wait. Charlotte. Charlotte, don't run. You're pregnant.
I don't want to see you. I'm so mad at you. I was always on your side. And then you go and you do that to Carrie. No. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to waste tears on you. I cursed the day you were born. I think my water just broke.
Big takes her to the hospital and stays with her throughout the entire delivery. And Charlotte gives birth to a baby girl named Rose. And then Carrie shows up after the baby is born and she tells her that she saw Big. And Harry went out in the hall with her. And she says that Big told him to tell her to call him. And that he wrote her almost every day. And Carrie's like, I didn't get no letters. I didn't get no emails. What's going on? But remember, Louise stored all those emails from that person into that file. So Carrie goes home, she's searching and she finds it, and she goes in and she can't find the password to it because it has like her assistant password in there. She's like, oh my gosh, the password is love. Don't make me mad. And she goes in the hidden file and she finds all of these emails, most of them being love letters from the book that Carrie was reading in the beginning. And then there was one love letter from Big.
Plus one more, written by John James Preston.
After receiving a call from Louise reminding her about the shoes in the apartment, Carrie runs over there to get her $525 never been worn Manolos, and Big is waiting in the apartment with the shoes in his hand. The two make up and Big proposes to Carrie on bended knee and she says yes. In substitute for a ring, Big puts on her Manolos. They go to City Hall to get married, and Big surprises her with her friends after they got married. The movie ends on the girls celebrating Samantha's 50th birthday. I really liked that movie. It was really good. It was very well rounded. It's a great closure for the series. But then they made Sex and the City 2 and everything blew up. This movie is a lot. I'm gonna let you know right now. The second Sex and the City movie was released in 2010 and was hated by critics, but remained commercially successful. It had a budget of $95 million, and it shows. It made almost $300 million. It is set 2 years after the events of the first movie. The movie starts with Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Carrie's iconic monologue, which already shows the budget increase. The music is still too loud in this movie though. Carrie recaps the way she met all the girls in the 80s. In 1987, she met Charlotte when a man dropped his pants on the subway at 2 a.m. She met Miranda in 1989 while she worked in Bloomingdale's, when she found her crying in the dressing room. She met Samantha while she was bartending at CBGB's. The four girls prepare to meet up for a friend's wedding, and the way that they're framing it, it looks like Samantha's about to get married. But it's actually Stanford and Anthony. I thought they hated each other. The writers just wanted to put the two gay characters together, but I just feel like it was very lazy to just stick the two other gay characters together. That's like just sticking Carrie and Samantha together because they're the only ones that weren't married during the first movie. At the wedding, we are placed in the middle of the Arctic with an all-male choir singing If I Ever Would Leave You. The girls discuss the wedding decor, and Anthony joins in agreeing that it looks ridiculous because he let Stanford run wild.
So you're allowed to cheat because you're gay?
No, because I'm Italian.
What's going on here? While the wedding officially starts, Samantha says, "Could this wedding get any gayer?" And Liza Minnelli appears to officiate the wedding. What were they on in the writer's room? Like, what was going on? And Anthony's vows were actually so sweet.
It was not exactly love at first sight. But it turns out it was love. You are the first man to accept me for the man that I actually am.
And then there's a dance number. Charlotte and Harry are struggling with Rose being fussy, and they hire a nanny and bring her to Connecticut with them. It is also revealed that Miranda's new boss hates her for no reason. The next day, the girls meet up for lunch, and Samantha is counting her 44 vitamins to offset the effects of menopause. The ladies are introduced to Charlotte's braless nanny named Erin, and Samantha is the first to bring up the nanny's looks and put suspicion in Charlotte's head about her. When Carrie and Big go home from Connecticut, Big just wants to stay home while Carrie wants to go out, and Carrie is bored out of her mind and is scared to become one of those old married couples. Miranda almost misses her son's science fair because of work and her boss being a loser. She is fed up with him disrespecting her, and she decides to quit. And then she gets to see Brady win the science fair. Charlotte goes to check on Harry and Erin, giving Rose a bath, and Rose grabs the shower head and sprays it all over Erin, who is wearing a white tank top. Harry is sort of kind of looking at Erin, but I think he's laughing more than gawking at her. But he's still looking. Charlotte is at one of her lowest points when it comes to motherhood, and she is fighting for her life while baking 50 million cupcakes. She's also on the phone with Carrie telling her about Erin and the nanny situation. She's just like, I'm so distraught. And Lily is trying to get her attention, and she's trying to show her the paint that she has on her hands. So after calling her mom's name like 3 times, Lily gets up and smacks the paint on Charlotte's butt, and she's wearing her vintage white Valentino skirt, and she absolutely loses her mind. She's like, Lily, you don't do those types of things. She yells at Lily, I think for the first time, and then she just goes into the pantry, locks herself into the pantry, and cries. I understand. This is how I get with Mason sometimes. Sometimes I just need a second. When I'm waking up, all I hear is whining, and I'm just like, Mason, can you please just give me a second? Mima is tired. And then at this moment, the nanny comes home, and she has never been more thankful. And then Samantha Jarrett calls Samantha while in Abu Dhabi for a movie, and he invites Samantha to go to the red carpet with him, and she says yes, of course. At their anniversary dinner, Carrie gives Big a vintage Rolex, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful Rolex. And we are finally getting the romance we were missing in the show. But Big's gift is a flat screen TV in the bedroom. Sir, Carrie Carrie hates the gift. She doesn't even like watching TV. This is the same woman that didn't get a phone until 2002. Samantha and Carrie go shopping, and Samantha picks out the ugliest dress ever, and the sales associate asks if it's a little young for Samantha. And Samantha gets so angry, and she puts the sales associate in her place. But that dress, I think she was trying to save you, honestly. Not even trying to be like on no funny stuff. That dress was ugly, and it's okay. And it's okay, we can admit it. At the night of the premiere, Carrie is already ready, and Big is just getting home with takeout. Big doesn't feel like going, and Carrie is getting frustrated again. And at first, Carrie agrees to Big staying home and taking Stanford instead. And she changes her mind and forces him to go after seeing the takeout and Big trying to be funny. Empire State of Mind starts playing again, and they are getting their use out of that song, okay? They are not playing. At the premiere, Samantha and Miley Cyrus are wearing the same dress, and Tim Gunn is being messy. At the after party, Samantha meets the film producer Sheikh Khalid, and of course, Smith is crediting Samantha for his stardom. Because of this, Sheikh Khalid invites her to Abu Dhabi to do PR for his hotel. Also at the after party, Big is seen speaking with a woman named Carmen, who is played by Penelope Cruz, at the bar, and she is flirting down, okay? I understand why Carrie was bothered, because why does she get the funny, charming, and conversational man, and I get the couch potato that ignores me for the TV? Don't make me mad. And Big just dismisses everything that she says. Carrie actually did a good job at communicating her feelings to Big, and he's just putting up a wall. It's so annoying. Carrie wakes up early to go to her old apartment to write her Vogue article, and she stays at the apartment for 2 whole days. She meets up with the girls during that time, and Samantha tells them about Abu Dhabi. Samantha invites all the girls to Abu Dhabi on an all-expense-paid trip. Charlotte is hesitant to go at first because she doesn't want to leave the kids, and Samantha kind of forces her hand. Big surprises Carrie with dinner reservations and brings the spark back to their marriage. Before Carrie leaves for Abu Dhabi, Big brings up the idea of taking 2 days off of their marriage every week. The way Big meant it is totally different than the way Carrie took it, but what did I just say? Impact outweighs intention. Miranda has been reading books about the Middle East and is trying to give the girls a rundown of the tradition and rules of Abu Dhabi. And that's kind of Miranda's story arc throughout this entire movie, because she doesn't have to worry about work, she doesn't have to worry about her family, she just has to worry about the laws of Abu Dhabi. While at the Plains bar, Carrie tells the girls about what Big and her discussed, and she frames it like it was a mutual agreement, and the girls immediately think that their marriage is in trouble, and Charlotte is very against the idea. When the girls arrive in Abu Dhabi, Samantha's hormones are confiscated, and the girls are given 4 new Maybachs and the nicest suite in the hotel. Each of the girls get their own butler. The movie gets a little Islamophobic and racist after this point, so just beware of all of that. Almost every 10 minutes there's a comment. So Carrie is being weird about a woman named Nick Quab, and she is watching her while she eats, and it gets very strange.
Well, I could get into the head wrap, but the veil across the mouth, it freaks me out.
While preparing the warm milk, Carrie's butler Garou sneaks up on her and spooks her. Carrie and Garou's conversation was very heartwarming and led to Carrie thinking about her own situation.
Well, please apologize to your wife for my keeping you here all night.
It is fine. She is in India.
Oh.
I will see her in 1 month. I'm afraid if I apologize then it will hardly make sense.
So you work here and you travel back and forth?
Yes, every 3 months when I have a break in work and can afford the plane fare.
Isn't that hard?
What, miss?
Just, being married and spending all that time apart.
Time does not matter. When we see each other, each time, it is very wonderful.
Miranda and Carrie take a trip to the market where they are warned about men that will try to sell them black market watches. While trying to buy a pair of shoes, Carrie takes her spices and her passport out of her bag and places it on the shop's counter. While shopping, she gets distracted by Aiden. What are you doing here? Because of this, she leaves her passport at the shop and sets up a meeting with Aiden for tomorrow night. There is a brigade of hot men at the hotel's pool, and Samantha is not aroused at all, and she is extremely distraught. She needs them pills. She has been eating raw yams. Can I get to the yams? After going on a camel ride, Samantha starts having hot flashes and continues for the rest of the movie. So if Samantha appears on screen, just know that she's fanning herself and is sweating like crazy. The girls are having lunch in the middle of the desert, and a Danish man named Ricard Spurt has finally tickled Samantha's interest, and she's feeling like coloring, okay? The girls go to the karaoke bar and sing I Am Woman, and they sound horrible. But who is watching Sex and the City for good music? During the girls' karaoke session, Ricard comes in and Samantha spots him, and she starts singing the most colorful lyrics to him. The next morning, Carrie reads the New Yorker's review of her book, and they hated it. Because of this, Carrie doesn't want to join the girls for their spa day and walks on the beach alone. Carrie is about to go meet Aiden for dinner at his hotel, and Charlotte is trying to convince her not to. Carrie is trying to convince herself that the meeting is innocent and that she has to go because it's fated. Carrie says something so nasty to Charlotte out of guilt.
Just because you're worried about your marriage, everyone's gonna cheat. Have a good time at dinner.
And she's actually so mean to Charlotte throughout this movie because Charlotte is clocking her tea. She is clocking it, and they mad. We really get to see Miranda and Charlotte bonding because they are both mothers and they are struggling. Carrie and Aiden are catching up, and Aiden reveals that he is still married and has 3 boys. And after all that family talk, Aiden kisses Carrie at the end of the night. Don't make me mad. Then Carrie runs back and makes her problem everybody's problem. And I would hate to be Carrie's friend because Carrie is just so self-absorbed. And she doesn't realize, like, you just said the harshest thing ever to one of your friends. And then you expect that same friend to just hop up and just come to your rescue. Carrie instantly wants to tell Big, and the girls, especially Samantha, are like, sleep on it. Samantha goes on a date with Ricard and is doing the most colorful things in the world. She's sucking on the hookah and upsetting the locals, and one of the locals reports them to the police, but they don't know that yet. Carrie calls Big and tells him that she kissed Aiden in the longest way possible. It wouldn't make me matter if I was Big because it took you so long. And Big hangs up on Carrie and stares out of his office window. Samantha calls Carrie and she tells her that she's arrested for coloring on the beach. Carrie and Charlotte have a heart-to-heart and apologize for what they said about each other. Because of Samantha's reckless actions, the girls are kicked out of the hotel, and on top of that, her meeting with the Sheikh has been canceled.
We have an hour to pack and get the fuck out of Abu Dhabi.
While in a frenzy to leave the hotel in time for checkout, Carrie leaves Garo money for his flight home to see his wife. When about to leave for the airport, Carrie realizes her passport is missing. The ladies now have to go to the souk to find her passport. While in the souk, Samantha is baking from the inside out and is in a tank top and shorts while flapping her jacket to cool down. Thankfully, the man at the shop kept Carrie's passport safe, and she bought a bunch of shoes to repay him. While leaving the souk, Charlotte and Samantha are approached by men selling counterfeit items, and they are lured into the shop that has fake Rolexes, sunglasses, and Birkins, including the one Samantha has been wearing for most of the trip. The men think that Samantha stole the Birkin and chased her down the street for it. They begin to tug for her bag, and they break it, and then everything flies out, okay? A group of men start surrounding Samantha, and they're calling her all types of things, and they start to get mad, and Samantha gets even madder, and she starts going crazy. Like, she's like, bite me! This scene irritated me so bad because Samantha should have really just let it go, but I'm just blaming it on the menopause, and I think a sign of menopause is mood swings. I don't know for sure. I'm not going through menopause. They're trying to flee the angry men, and they're just following them around, and then they are signaled to follow women into a shop for protection. There is something about this scene that rubs me the wrong way, and I look to see if other people felt the same way, and they do, and that this movie is really just deemed as racist by a lot of people, and it's not just me, guys. It's not just me. The girls then wear the women from the shop's garments to hide from the angry men. The ladies make it back to the airport in time, and Big didn't meet Carrie at the airport when she landed in New York and wasn't in the apartment for her when she got back. Big does not come back to Carrie until the end of the night and gives her a black diamond ring as punishment and a reminder for her. Samantha and Ricard meet back up in the state and finally finish what they started. On Lily's 3rd birthday, Charlotte has this big party, and we find out that the nanny wasn't worried about Harry at all because she likes other nannies. The movie ends with Carrie and Big sitting on the couch watching TV. That's all. That was a lot. That was a lot of mess, and I just... Who else is tired? Who else is tired and wants to go to bed? The first movie is way better than the last one. I feel like they could have just stopped with the first movie because it acts as a great closure to the series. And the second movie is just unnecessary drama. Samantha doing all that Samantha is doing is making her look desperate. And something that Samantha never was desperate. I understand that she jumped on every opportunity to color because she wasn't feeling coloring, but it's still over the top. My enjoyment of the movie went down significantly once they got to Abu Dhabi. They should have just stayed in New York because the hijinks that ensue aren't worth it at all, and they just demonize Samantha and demonize the Middle East and their culture. The first movie doesn't have that many flaws except that Mr. Big is the worst and that it is super corny, but it's Sex and the City, of course, it's corny. Anyways, that's really all I had to say. I really want to thank y'all so much for the love on the last video. That video took me literally all day to edit and all night to edit. Like, I spent so long on that video, and I would like to thank you so much for watching. Also, I just used the original Sex and the City theme that I did in the beginning for this video because there really isn't anything to recreate with this. And I think I'm going to keep that for the rest of the Sex and the City series so that it's just continuous and just adds cohesiveness to it. So thank you so much for watching. I really like having conversation with y'all, so thank you so much for commenting. Even though y'all kept commenting about the middle-aged thing, I actually appreciate the comments because at the end of the day it's engagement, and I really do love the fact that y'all are taking the time out of your day to comment on Little Old Me video. And thank you so much to everyone that subscribed for that video. Like, that's actually insane. Like, I got like 200 subscribers in like a week. See, y'all, I'm about to cry. Let me wrap this up, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd, both Blind and Sydney, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.